Episode 623. The sounds of battle on the other side of the wall grew clearer by the second. That dense, relentless gunfire could only belong to a major boss like the Wild Bounty Hunter. The players' attacks, on the other hand, were a chaotic mess. Yet Yi Shu kept listening intently, trying to catch some useful information. But the most straightforward information came from the conversation itself.
Pull it! Pull it! Cleric, don't heal so hard. You'll pull OT.
If I don't heal him, he's going to die.
The cleric tried to explain himself.
Pump up the aggro, don't just run. Are you faster than a bullet?
The player responsible for pulling aggro got chewed out. Just from those few shouts, the situation outside was already painted clearly. Clearly, the player holding aggro couldn't wait to run back this way after establishing it. But the Wild West gunslinger was a ranged attacker from the gunner class. No matter how fast you ran, he could still chase you down and keep firing. So the cleric had to heal him, but the guy pulling aggro just kept running without coming back to re-establish threat. Before long, the aggro shifted to the cleric.
Dummy, just have the cleric stand over here. Problem solved.
Yi Shu couldn't help but want to say a thing or two.
Which guild are they from?
I didn't get a good look. Did anyone else see it?
Dark Fragrance replied, but everyone said they hadn't seen anything. They spotted this crew through a crack in the wall, but the crack gave them such a narrow field of view that unless someone stood just right, they couldn't see the names or guild tags above their heads. So as for who these people were or where they came from, not a single one of them could tell.
Keep an eye on that side. Watch for anyone climbing over the wall.
Yi Shu directed.
Understood.
Dark Fragrance and Sparse Shadow immediately assigned 2 people to keep watch, while she herself kept her perspective nervously locked on the dog hole. The gunfire outside was drawing closer, clearly pulling the Wasteland Rangers deeper toward the dog hole. Suddenly, a cry rang out.
Damn, OT! Cleric, get over there!
He's ranged, standing over there attacking, not coming over.
The cleric's voice carried a note that almost sounded like tears.
Are you all dead? Fall back this way.
Amidst the chaos of footsteps and clashing attacks, Ye Shu had already locked his hearing entirely onto the gunfire of the Wild Bounty Hunter. He needed to know exactly how much farther the desperado was. Close. The desolate riders were getting closer. Yi Shu could tell they were doing a decent job of it. Despite all their fumbling, the boss was still successfully squeezed into the dog hole.
Mark the spot. Mark the spot.
That's the line everyone's emphasizing out there right now.
Ready.
Then, a command laced with excitement rang out. A rapid succession of skill sounds followed, and then a single, crisp, clean impact cut through the noise, reaching everyone's ears. Yi Shu had already made a snap judgment. This was Falling Flower Palm. He dropped to the ground immediately, flattening the pile of hay. From his lowered vantage point, he spotted a dark figure already filling the dog hole. Without a moment's hesitation, Yi Shu thrust an attack through the dog hole from his prone position. Aside from Yi Shu himself, no one knew where that attack was aimed. Shen Guo and the others, standing nervously to the side, couldn't exactly squeeze their heads into the dog hole to see what was happening. But Chen Guo had an advantage. She whipped her head around and landed her view on Ye Shu's screen. From the look of it, Ye Shu had only used a basic attack, a perfectly ordinary swing at the wilderness bandit crawling out of the hole. But then came a loud clang, dust shaking loose from the earthen wall, and the grass around the dog hole seemed to tremble twice. A voice sounded from the other side.
Again.
Clearly, this attempt had failed, but whether it had anything to do with Ye Shu, Chen Guo simply couldn't tell from theory alone. She had no idea what kind of impact that one move of his had actually made.
Scatter to both sides.
Yi Shu, while sending a message, smoothly leaped up with Lord Grimm and rolled straight out of that dog hole. Before the others could react, several bullets came howling out of the hole, and 2 of them were hit on the spot.
What the hell happened?
The one who took the shot had his soul scattered to the winds.
Ah, they're getting up. Watch yourselves.
Ye Shu replied helplessly, then crouched back down to his original spot. Outside, a chaotic storm of skills controlled the field. After another round of adjustments, Ye Shu once again heard the familiar sound of falling flower palm cutting through the air. Get down. Attack. What Ye Shu did looked that simple, but from the other side of the wall came that same frustrated cry, again.
I can't follow this at all.
Chen Guo watched Lord Grimm dodge another volley of bullets from the desperado, then frankly admitted she couldn't make heads or tails of it.
What's there not to understand? All I have to do is nudge his movement with an attack, let him scrape against the wall somewhere, and he won't be able to get back in.
I get that. I really do. What I don't get is how something like that is even possible.
That's a tough one to answer. I suppose the only way to put it is, because I'm Yi Chu.
Chen Guo had no comeback.
By now, their third attempt was already underway. This time, Chen Guo didn't just watch Ye Shu's screen. She started paying close attention to exactly what he was doing in that split second. The outsiders, blind to the root cause, chalked it up to a simple mistake. They stubbornly stuck to their usual routine, and the battle mage's falling flower palm once again took the lead in blowing the boss in. Yi Shu's operation began the moment he heard that sound. He pressed down the grass, angled his view toward the dog hole, and attacked. To Chen Guo, it looked like Ye Shu was just flailing wildly, but then she noticed that Lord Grimm's attack didn't seem to be a simple thrust. It had an upward scooping motion to it. Chen Guo was shocked. Thrust-type attacks were point and click, while slashes, upward strikes, or horizontal sweeps all required a mouse flick. Lord Grimm's attacks were of this type, but Chen Guo, who was watching Ye Shu's movements closely, hadn't noticed any such swing from his right hand. From beyond the wall came another, again, but this time, that again was laced with a rising fury. But this time, Chen Guo didn't look at the screen. She kept her eyes locked on Ye Shu's right hand. Falling flower palm rose, and his right hand moved. Chen Guo's eyes went wide. She saw it, that tiny flick of the wrist after Ye Shu clicked. This time, Chen Guo finally saw it, but she didn't dare draw a conclusion that this was the flicking motion. She still hadn't detected any displacement of Ye Shu's right hand. She only saw that after the click, his right hand seemed to tremble ever so slightly. Chen Guo held her own right hand up in front of her and realized that the slight tremor in her own hand while holding this pose was far greater than that tiny quiver from Ye Shu. That tremor was in operation too. Chen Guo suddenly realized this was very possible, because in a dog hole barely big enough for a person to crawl through, pulling off that kind of sweeping attack and achieving the desired effect would require extreme precision. If the arc was too wide, the weapon might catch on the hole and fail to swing out. Though it was just a basic attack, it was a god-tier play refined to the absolute limit.